Announcement comes as one of the largest and most significant climate gatherings in the world wraps up. The UN Climate Change Conference, also known as COP30, drew dozens of nations to Brazil to address global climate change.
The U.S. didn't send a single representative, but a California delegation, including Governor Gavin Newsom, did attend. State Senator Josh Becker of Menlo Park was there and joins us live now. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with what we just mentioned. The Trump administration says it plans to reopen oil drilling off the coast of California. Your reaction to this?
Well, I'd say Democrats are united, and many Republicans in the legislature are also united in not wanting offshore oil drilling. We're certainly going to fight that and resist it. It's a bad idea and not needed.
You know, State Senator, I know the president ran on a campaign where we heard him over and over again say, drill, baby, drill. And to a lot of Americans who can't afford electric cars and they can barely afford to get gas, wouldn't the idea be to lower gas prices?
Well, we had a comprehensive deal in the legislature last year as we look at what the transition, we're sort of like in a kind of what they say mid-transition period. So we're looking and taking action, which we did in the legislature, to keep gas prices low, but also to accelerate our reduction of demand. We had 29% of the vehicles sold, new cars in California last quarter were electric vehicles, and we're finding ways to move ahead on our policies despite the headwinds from Washington, D.C.
All right, so let's get back to the summit now. I want to ask you, what motivated California to send people to COP30 when the U.S. didn't?
Well, number one, it was partly that, to let the rest of the world, who was incredibly discouraged by our president's statements and the U.S. not sending a delegation, to let folks know that President Trump does not speak for all Americans, and that Californians, by wide majorities, continue to believe that confronting climate change and accelerating clean energy is not just an environmental priority, but really a moral, an economic, and a public health imperative. So we wanted to share that, which was very welcome, I can tell you. But also, it was a chance to, again, talk about a very specific progress. A few years ago, we were at 5% clean energy on our grid. I'm chair of the Senate Energy Committee in California. I'm proud to say we're almost 70% of our grid is clean now. But we also learned a tremendous amount and advanced a lot of partnerships on wildfire and clean energy with other countries.
Well, State Senator, I did want to ask you on some of what the big takeaways or accomplishments were there. We just saw some video of a fire that broke out there. Maybe you could clarify the video that we were seeing on our screens about that fire that broke out there.
I think the fire took place in the in the pavilion as well. Some friends of mine were there and sent video. So that was actually in the pavilion itself. I will tell you, it was incredibly hot and humid. Fortunately, no fires when I was there. But this was just an electrical fire within the pavilion itself.
Okay.
And really quick, before you go, I want to ask you about what we've seen and your commitment and your actions with ICE raids that have been happening across California, across the country, specifically in the Bay Area. I mean, what are your concerns and what are you doing?
I'll say a couple of things. One thing that struck me very much at COP, my son turned 20 years old while I was there. So I realized very clearly that this was about our planet. Is also about our economy, but really about our children's future. And this story also strikes me very personally. My grandfather came to this country. My grandparents came, worked in corner stores, started a small corner store. And these immigrants are key to America and to our story. And half of the undocumented immigrants in California have been here 20 years or more, working, paying taxes, being part of our community, paying taxes for services they'll never get. And so when we see these raids, when people are talking about law-abiding people are just going in for their hearings, just following the process, it's incredibly upsetting to all of us. I chair the Bay Area Caucus, which is the 27 Bay Area legislators, and we meet regularly to figure out, okay, what can we do to, number one, make the immigrant community feel welcome, and then number two, to push back on these raids.
I know we don't have much time left. I don't know if you've thrown your support behind anybody. I'd be wrong if I didn't ask who you're going for the next California governor, because I feel like it's made all the politic news. Do you have somebody in mind?
You know, we keep seeing more and more entrants in, and so I have not made a decision yet. I'm talking to a number of them. Obviously, climate policy is one of my key pieces, but you know, this general affordability theme. We did a lot of action in California last year, and who's going to keep that momentum up as well? But I have not decided yet.
All righty.
All right, Senator Josh Becker, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, from kinky boots